On the morning of May 27, 2015, the most powerful men in global soccer were waking up at the Bauer Aulach. It's a five-star hotel in Zurich, where these executives gathered for the 65th FIFA Congress. Before the meetings could start, Swiss police swept through the hallways, pulling 7 top executives from their suites and placing them under arrest. The Swiss authorities weren't acting on their own warrants. They were executing extradition requests filed by the United States Department of Justice. The United States has historically viewed soccer with a mild shrug, yet American prosecutors were the ones pulling the trigger on a massive, coordinated takedown of the sport's global governing body. For decades, FIFA operated almost like its own sovereign nation. They controlled the world's most popular sport, which meant they controlled the billions of dollars tied up in television rights, sponsorships, and World Cup hosting bids. Journalists and whistleblowers had spent years trying to expose the internal workings of that empire, but FIFA's insular structure allowed the organization to deflect investigations and keep its operations firmly in the shadows. That long history of deflecting consequences created a culture of extreme confidence. The executives at the top believed they were completely out of reach, missing a massive vulnerability in how they moved their money. That vulnerability started with a man named Chuck Blazer. He was an American executive who had climbed the ranks to become the General Secretary of CONCACAF, the governing body for soccer in North and Central America. The United States is one of the few countries that taxes its citizens on their worldwide income. The IRS requires you to report and pay taxes on all income, even if you acquired it illegally. In 2011, the IRS Criminal Investigation Division noticed a discrepancy. Blazer had been receiving millions in undisclosed kickbacks from sports marketing deals, and he hadn't been filing his personal income tax returns. Federal agents confronted him on the street in New York with proof of tax evasion. To avoid a long prison sentence, Blazer agreed to cooperate. He began secretly recording meetings with other FIFA officials, even wearing a concealed recording device during the 2012 Summer Olympics. The operation that dismantled the global soccer syndicate began with a mundane detail: a single executive failing to pay taxes on his bribes. Blazer's recordings gave the FBI an inside look at a sprawling racket. Over several years, marketing executives and football officials had colluded to exchange an estimated $150 million in bribes for media rights and tournament hosting duties. The prosecutors documented multiple high-profile payouts. In one case, a $10 million payment was routed to accounts controlled by former CONCACAF head Jack Warner, in exchange for helping South Africa secure the right to host the 2010 World Cup. To move all this cash around the globe, the participants repeatedly used U.S. banks. Under a piece of legislation known as the Travel Act, the moment an illicit transaction passed through American financial institutions, the Department of Justice had legal jurisdiction to act. Prosecutors then deployed the RICO Act. Originally designed to dismantle the American mafia, RICO allows law enforcement to link isolated crimes together. Instead of prosecuting a series of disconnected bribes, the DOJ legally classified this network of FIFA officials and marketing executives as a unified criminal enterprise. By utilizing the American banking system to hide their money, the executives had inadvertently subjected themselves to the most aggressive anti-racketeering laws on the planet. The morning of the Zurich raids triggered an immediate chain reaction. On the exact same day, Swiss prosecuting authorities seized electronic data from FIFA's headquarters and launched their own parallel criminal inquiry into the bidding processes for the 2018 and 2022 World Cups. Longtime FIFA president Sepp Blatter actually won re-election just 2 days after the arrests. But as major corporate sponsors began demanding immediate reform, the pressure mounted, and he was forced to announce his resignation 4 days later. The collapse of FIFA's leadership structure accelerated from there. The organization's own ethics committee eventually banned both Blatter and UEFA president Michel Platini from all football-related activity for 8 years, stemming from a separate $2 million disloyal payment. By the end of 2015, the scope of the fallout was staggering. 14 different individuals and corporations had pleaded guilty to charges including wire fraud and racketeering, agreeing to forfeit tens of millions of dollars in criminal proceeds. The 2015 indictments systematically dismantled a syndicate that had operated without oversight for decades. The Department of Justice proved that no matter how insulated an organization appears, utilizing the global financial system comes with laws you simply cannot outrun.